Hello everyone, this will be a narrated 26 Plaguefall run that I did a few weeks ago. Here's my, well, they'll show up again. Here are the talents I took. I'm running Death and Madness in this key because it's explosive week. We're going to be invising here, just typical for Plaguefall. I always run through the center because it's faster, especially if you don't have a speed boost. Can't always make it if you go along the road. I believe we do almost all of the slimes here. Lots of explosives. Typically on explosive week the healer will get most of them, but it's everyone's responsibility to help out, especially when the healer is getting overwhelmed by, I guess, needing to heal and other mechanics and stuff. It's also raging this week, so when mobs get low, they have a little damage boost. So typically in Plaguefall, you'll see the slime pool with the relic and then chained into the belcher, and this belcher will just get dragged further down. He's pulling in some more slimes, some ones we missed earlier. On like huge pulls like all those slimes, you just spam Searing Nightmare at that target amount. It was like 15, 16 targets or so. Anything above 8 is when you just start to spam Searing Nightmare and use your Dark Thought procs to trigger your 4Ps. So I'm trying to get these explosives, but this healer is very quick, and the tank is also helping. So I just dot up a few targets with Indirect Touch here, and then go into Void Form and use PI and start using Shadowflame Prism procs and Mind Searing in between. I'm also the Disease Dispel in this group, so... Oh well, there's also actually a Holy Priest in this comp, but typically when I'm running Plaguefall, I'm not so lucky to run with another priest, so I'm typically the only Disease Dispel. So look out for that if you are the only Disease Dispel. I just had to clear the Hunter's Disease there from the Corroded Claws. This next pull, I believe it's just going to be this Plague Binder and the Red Slime. So we'll kill the Plague Binder here, and then we will drag the Red Slime back into the boss's room to get the double haste buff with the Necrolord. We're just alternating kicks here to drag this red slime up to the boss room. Now this red puddle that this mob drops, it gives you a bunch of haste when you stand in it, but it also does a lot of damage, so you have to be really careful, especially on tyrannical weeks, that you do not die to the boss mechanics because you're standing in this red puddle. It puts a lot of stress on your healer. Make sure to use your defensives for every stomp. So like, you should have fade up for every stomp. That gives you about 12% DR with empowered conduits. It looks like I forgot to use my intellect pot here, but oh yeah. I used it after my cooldowns were done because I forgot. So now we have healing from the herb buff, so we can stand in this red puddle a little bit longer, still be okay. Stomp is coming up soon. Typically you'll kill these small ads, root the big ones. See, there's another stomp. I faded. Since it's only fortified, I didn't need to use Desperate Prayer there. I was already nearly full health before the stomp. Seems like the playback on this clip is messed up in this video player. Anyway, right when a boss ability is coming out, make sure you're not standing in the red slime, because you can take a tick from the red puddle and right before a stomp goes out, and you will possibly die if the key level is high enough. So try to move out of the red before the abilities happen. So I made a little, seems like I made a little mistake here and accidentally desynced my cooldowns. So I ended up using Void Eruption, I think at the end of the first boss, but I didn't, my PI was not quite up. So I ended up having PI with my 1 minutes here. Went ahead and used my PI here with the 1 minutes, but typically you'll want to save Void Eruption and PI in your 1 minutes and use them as PI comes up. Use them all together. But with the herb buff, it kind of gives you a little more leeway. So my 1 minutes are back. My void form is back now. I still have about 40 seconds left for PI. So on this next pool, see what he does. Looks like it's just the 3 slimes. I should be using my 1 minutes here. So apply Vampiric Touch to some targets. Eventually use my 1 minutes. Oh, maybe I'm just holding. I think I ended up holding for the next pool because I anticipated he was going to do the pool at the bottom of the stairs. This was a mistake. I should have used my 1 minutes here because this is already 30 seconds elapsed, and there I go using my 1 minute. I should have used them at the start of the pool. I used them because he ended up chaining in the purple slime and the plague binder. Oh, I used everything here. So what so I had ended up holding the 1 minute to resync my cooldowns basically from where I desynced them earlier. May not have been the wisest choice because this next pool is going to be very large. So he ends up chaining this plague binder into this pack, and it ends up causing some issues because it doesn't die. This pool was quite ambitious. So there's the relics. It was double plague binder. The old plague binder died. The gunk. Tank got rooted from the plague binder and the earth slam and died. This causes us to wipe. So yeah, we had a full wipe here and the healer runs back. I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit. See if I can... How far is it? It's a few minutes. Okay, so we rezzed, now we're fighting the pool again. Of course I had full cooldowns available, so I used them. I forgot to mention at the start of the video, this run was done completely no comms. Only communication we had was in party chat. So all of this route is not a typical route that I've done in Plaguefall. So this pool was... the ordering of the pools was different from what I'm used to. So the cooldown usage is not ideal in some spots. But anyway, we recovered from the wipe. You know, we were plenty ahead of time, even with that wipe. So now he's doing stair pull with the 2 slime claws from the side. Compare touch a few targets. My cooldowns are not quite up again from the previous pull, so I'm just using Searing and using my Dark Thought procs as they come up. I avoid Eruption a little early here. Yeah, I was not quite up yet. But I use it as soon as it comes up and pop my 1 minute. Probably should have just waited the extra few seconds for the eye to come back up, but yeah. So as the slime claws started running away, the tank grouped them in. And there's also a binding shot down, so they can't move. It's really good to use any like roots or stuns on these slime claws so that they don't run away when they get low health and, you know, put a disease on whoever's closest. Now we're going into the gauntlet. You don't really need to put much damage here into these tentacles. I just, of course, use my 1 minute as they come up because, you know, why not? You still need to do about 20% damage to these tentacles to kill them. But yeah, the plague borers do most of the work. Just make sure to stun the tentacle before it does its crushing embrace. And stay out of the little puddles that the plague borers do when they explode. So typically here, as we're fighting Blightweaver, someone will run downstairs and pull one of the side packs to use with the 4th set of plague borers. I can't really tell right now if that's happening. It looks like the hunter is running down and is going to misdirect the tank to that pack. So there are the 2 new plague borers. Interrupting Blightweaver to bring him downstairs, and the tank will grip everything together. Blightweaver may not make it in, but he'll die. So this next pack, the big guy, of course, has this frontal. Typically, you know, not everyone does it the same way, but most tanks tank him right about where he is now. So I will run up the stairs and also be about 25 yards or so away, so that just in case the frontal does somehow get aimed at me, I can just take a few steps back, or I'm already out of the frontal range. And I'll be safe up there. Just have to dodge stuff on the ground. And of course, when these things die, watch your feet. Don't run over one of those little slimes without a defensive. Usually the tank does it, or someone with an immunity will clear them. So the boss is on the next platform over. It's going to be about 20 seconds or so before he lands on this platform. We should have... The chipmunk voice from this audio playback makes me smile. Anyway, the boss should be hopping over in a few seconds, and I believe we're just going to kill this on top of boss. Yep, we are. And so I held all my cooldowns for when the boss pull started. Typically, especially with the herb buff, if you use your 2 minutes on pull of this boss, you will have your 2 minutes back up for the second bomb, which is the third platform. And usually less carries the first bomb. Sometimes people lust the second bomb, though. It just all depends on your group comp and cooldown timings. Make sure to watch out for this jump. It's always in a cross formation, directly in front of him, behind him, and to his sides. So you can kind of tell where it is. So, looks like we are not lusting here. I believe we have enough damage though for this bomb. I mean, the key's done. Of course we did, but typically you would lust here. But I think we lusted the next platform since we still had... actually, I don't know what the decision making was because we weren't in comp, so... But yeah. And then I'm running over here to Soul Trap. I'm not sure if that Soul Trap actually worked. But, yep, it did. Okay. So the Hunter trapped first, and I Soul Trapped before the end of the trap, the Hunter trap, so that Hunter can Soul Trap this new, or Frost Trap this new ad. Too many traps. And we still did not lust. Oh yes, I think we just never lusted because we forgot. there was quite a few mistakes in this key, but as you saw, oh there's our lust. That was the boss's little mistake. This is not ideal, but yeah. But yeah, I used my 2 minutes on the second bomb, or yeah, because they were up again. Now the boss is dead. And we still have 14 seconds of lust left. Typically you want to use lust on the bombs. That was a mistake where we just forgot. So do this pool, you know, make sure you purge the green slimes so they don't drop the green stuff on the ground, and focus down the tentacle here. I use my 1 minutes because that's what I had up. You want to always like use your 1 minutes as they come up. Most pools last about 40 seconds to a minute, depending on the size, so we pretty much have them every single pool. So I end up having my cooldowns available for this pool. But everyone seemed to have their cooldowns available for this pool, and it just fell over pretty quickly. Which is a good thing, but then you're left with your cooldowns kind of still running when everything's dead, and it's not a good feeling. This set one actually stayed alive a little bit longer than I was anticipating rewatching this video. But yeah. So we end up missing some count here, and we have to come back later to get it. We realize after we kill the third boss that we're missing count, and we just opt to get it after the last boss. So if you have a Death Knight tank, they can mind control the defenders and bring them with you. It's useful for the third boss and the last boss. You can take them downstairs with you and use the defender's shield as like a group defensive. That's becoming quite popular lately with DK tanks to do in Plaguefall. So those stealthlings, because they're rooted over there, they're spawning a bunch of explosives. We had a few explosives go off there, some extra damage. Just another thing to keep in mind when you have stuff that spawns extra adds and affix like explosives, that they can also trigger the affix. So you could get a million explosives or a million volcanoes or whatever. You have a bunch of those little adds that suddenly spawn. See, like 3 explosive spawns right there immediately, and there's more. So he's already mind controlled one of the undead mobs. Looks like he mind controlled a sniper actually, or I can't tell what he has mind controlled right there, but yeah. So you can use Psychic Core on the defenders to stun them, to interrupt their shield. And you can also Shackle, you know, but Shackle has a cast time, so it's better to use your stun. But Shackle is always available, no cooldown. So if you have multiple of these defenders in a pool and they keep shielding and nobody has a stop, remember that you have Shackle and Dead. So it's, on this boss, especially on Tyrannical Leaks, if you get targeted by the purple stun circle, it's very important that you pop a defensive. Looks like the first one's on the Hunter. So with these little adds, you can break them out with an AoE ability, and also Mass Dispel works. And I broke out that far one with Mass Dispel. Shadow Crash is good. I'm not sure if Psychic Scream works, but of course you'd have to get right up on them to actually break them out, which is very inconvenient. So just try to save Mass Dispel and Shadow Crash to break out far adds, and your team should help with the close ones. See, I should have tried to get that explosive there. I think I was trying to click on it, but something wasn't working. When the adds are out on this boss, it's a lot of stress on the healer and tank. So that's a good time to help get explosives. I will Shadow Crush far ad, and I was going to mass that other ad, but someone else broke it out before I did. can sometimes get 2 or more, depending on how they spawn. But I pulled out 2 ads there that were next to each other with that Master Spell. If they spawn close enough together, you can do that. So right now, the tank is contemplating getting the trash now, but then, yeah. He has his little defender buddy, which is like 1.3%, but we still end up being like 0.5% short after we kill it. So we have to go back later. So all of these little ads will spawn explosives. So this is another week where you don't want to pull this entire room at once, because otherwise you'll just be killing explosives instead of killing the mobs. So I get these low, focus Bile Flesh some to like teleports, then we go to the next pack. I'm just using my minutes as they come up. We still have to go to the stairway and kill the 3 slimes for the Necrolord buffs. And give the tank a little speed boost with Powered Shield, the body and soul. It shaves off a few seconds, but here he's releasing his pet and wants us to kill it. He starts talking in chat and saying, "Kill the sniper pet first." And then it's line of sight over here somehow. So this was a few seconds loss right here, but we're still plenty fine on time. Yes, I got the glob went off and also the sniper shot me at the same time and he was raging, so I died. Just a reminder that we're not in calm, so it's a little difficult to coordinate kicks and stuff. Unfortunately, the sniper did not die quick enough, so it re-enraged, even though it had been previously seized. And at this point, I am not sure if he wants to bring the red slime to boss, or if, he wants... yeah, to kill it there. Looks like it did in fact bring it to boss. Which you'll put another... standing in the red petal gives you more haste because it stacks with the Necrolord buff, but it's also a lot more damage you take. And can be a little bit harder on the healer. So we have no kicks right now, so he gripped. And the DK kicked. Looks like he doesn't quite make it to the boss, but yeah. So on this boss fight, use 2 minutes on pool. So in first phase and third phase, we'll use 2 minutes and use 1 minute in between. Her buff gives it a little bit more, you know, leeway with stuff. I didn't have Empiric Embrace quite up for the first rain, but typically I will use it on the very first infectious rain. And cleanse myself at 3 or 4 stacks. Unless I have to cleanse somebody else, like a hunter who doesn't have any defensives. Always fade the rain as well for that extra DR. You could single target stun these ads if you have aggro on them or something, or they're about to smack somebody else that's not the tank. But typically try to stay grouped in this phase because the Necrolord haste buff has a certain range on it. This is phase 2, we're going to Lust. Do not quite have my abilities available yet. Ended up popping the 1 minute back on cooldown. Just because the herb buff makes the timing a little awkward. I will pop a Void Eruption. And then probably save PI for phase 3. Cleansing myself. And I used Embrace here with Void Eruption. The extra already done. Wash your push. Yep. You did get a second ad though, which is fine. So at this point I am pretty dry on cooldowns, DPS cooldowns. We're using AMZ as a defensive for the rain. I'm also using my Fleshcraft. I'm helping with explosives. With all the extra ads that spawn, this phase can get really hectic with explosives. Next infectious rain, I'm most likely going to disperse. Since Desperate Prayer and Fleshcraft are both on cooldown. Actually, I tried to HP pot, but it was on cooldown. I got Guardian Spirited. Because I was, oh, Disperse was also on cooldown. Interesting. I had nothing there. When the boss is dead. And we still need count. So we quickly, with 2.5 minutes left, run back upstairs and kill the remaining count. So it's not the cleanest run, but it was a time is a time. We just need to kill this single green slime. And there, that is 26 Plaguefall with no comms. Let's see, I think I did show damage breakdown. Yeah, right here. Go back to it. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought. I'll try to do more of these like narrated videos. I kind of don't know what to say sometimes, you know, just use your cooldowns, line your cooldowns up, you know, use your defenses, just play smart, find the key. But thanks guys for watching, and see you next time.